Today we're discussing some tips and tricks for brand new players in Medieval Dynasty. Now we've got a lot of info to cover and no time to waste, so let's get to it. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Medieval Dynasty. This is an absolutely beautiful game that seems simple in concept. However, it is far more intricate in execution, and this can be somewhat overwhelming to new players. So today we're going to discuss some basic tips and tricks for beginners in Medieval Dynasty. And let's jump right in with tip number 1, explore. When starting a new game of Medieval Dynasty, you may be tempted to get right to work building your village. However, I would recommend taking a little bit of time to explore. Run down the various roadways and pathways. Take a stroll along the riverbanks or lakeside. Explore the wilderness of the valley. You can find some extremely helpful items that you can either use yourself personally or sell to the vendors to make yourself a little coin. As you're running down the roadways, be on the lookout for broken down carts. While strolling lakeside or along the riverbanks, be on the lookout for barrels and sacks. And while exploring the wilderness of the valley, keep your eyes open for camps. There is so much good loot to find. You can find advanced tools like bronze or even iron axes, pickaxes, shovels, and knives. You can find weapons like bows and higher tier arrows. You can find clothing, equipment, seeds, and fertilizer. So many excellent items just waiting for you to loot. Now, while you're exploring, make sure to keep your eyes and ears open because dangerous and aggressive animals do populate the wilderness. If you see them or hear them, be sure to give them a wide berth and go about your business. Later in the game, the camps that you can find may have bandits. However, bandits do not spawn in Medieval Dynasty until year 2. So that means in the first year, the camps are abandoned, which means you can take your time and loot all of the goodies that they have to offer. So instead of getting right to work building your village, get out there and explore. So now that you've explored a bit, you've got your hands on some pretty decent starting items. And the time has come to start building your village. First thing you're gonna need is a good spot to build on. So let's move on to tip number 2, what I consider to be the best building site for brand new players in Medieval Dynasty. And that is right here. This area offers new players a ton of benefits. First, it is close to Gustovia. This city is pretty much the hub of the game. It's where you go to start the main story quest, and it offers a lot of great vendors. Plus, you have to go here each year to pay your taxes. So being close to Gustovia is definitely a good thing. This area is also close to this bridge right here, which will give you quick access to the 3 northern villages, as well as a clear path to the safest mine in the game. This mine will become very important down the road. This building site also has a huge patch of reeds. By harvesting these reeds, you'll get your hands on straw, which is a very important resource early game. There are plenty of trees in the area for logs and sticks, plenty of nearby hunting spots, and a good amount of flat terrain to build and cultivate as farmland. Overall, I feel this is an excellent place to start your village, and I would highly recommend it for brand new players in Medieval Dynasty. So now let's talk about money. In Medieval Dynasty, you are going to need coinage for a lot of things. You need it in order to purchase goods, unlock crafting recipes, and of course, you gotta pay the tax man. So I'm gonna give you a few options for making money early game. And each of these options are either resources you can sell or items that you can craft by hand. And we're gonna start off with the stone knife. This item is extremely easy to craft. All it takes is a few sticks and a couple of stones, and presto, you've got yourself a stone knife. And you can find sticks and stones everywhere. The stone knife is a pretty light item, and it sells for a decent chunk of change. The next item I recommend is feathers. As you build your village, you're going to be chopping down a ton of trees. And every time you fell a tree, you'll get your hands on some feathers. Just by chopping down trees to gather the resources needed to build, you will have more feathers than you will ever need. You can sell the excess feathers for a good amount of cash. And the last item I want to discuss is the simple bag. The hunting lodge is the first building unlocked in the survival tree. Simply by picking up sticks and stones and other various resources, you will gain survival experience, and in no time, the hunting lodge will be unlocked and buildable. And villagers assigned to the hunting lodge can bring in leather. 3 leather can be crafted into a simple bag. This item is extremely lightweight and sells for a good amount of coin. But you're going to need something to spend all of that cash on. So let's move on to tip number 4, backpack and pouch. Carry weight is a major issue in Medieval Dynasty. As you're gathering resources, you can run out of space quickly, which can slow you down considerably. Load up with too much stuff, and your character won't be able to move at all. So I would highly recommend to increase your carry weight as soon as you can. And the best way to do this early game is by purchasing a backpack and pouch. First thing you want to do is find a tailor. These vendors can be found in Branica, Denica, and Hornica. Simply talk to the vendor and purchase yourself a simple, large backpack and a large pouch. These will significantly increase your carry weight. Now, they may seem a little pricey, but remember, this is a one-time purchase that will last you the entire game, and the benefit of extra carry weight is well worth the price. Plus, if you followed my tip number 1, you should have plenty of coin on hand. So let's move on to tip number 5. Don't rush. Medieval Dynasty is aptly named. You are establishing your dynasty. And as the old saying goes, ladies and gentlemen, Rome wasn't built in a day. So don't rush. Take your time, slow down, and plan things out. If you expand too much too soon, you could run into problems. Your village will become a chore to manage, and your villagers could even get fed up and leave, and that will only make the problems worse. So don't rush, slow down, and take your time. You'll have a much more enjoyable experience overall. Now let me throw in a little bonus tip here for you folks, and that is utilizing the quick save option. By pressing the F5 key on your keyboard, you will drop a quick save for your game. And by pressing F9 on the keyboard, that will load your last quick save. This option is extremely useful for many scenarios. For instance, are you romancing a lady? Well, drop a quick save just in case your attempts to woo her go horribly wrong. Does a villager have a quest for you to perform? Well, you may not have access to the items needed to complete that quest. So before discussing the quest with the villager, quick save the game and make sure that the quest is something that you can actually complete. Have you come across a group of bandits, or are you hunting some dangerous animals? Hit that F5 key before engaging in combat just in case. Because in Medieval Dynasty, if you die before you have an heir and your heir comes of age, that is game over. So definitely utilize that quick save option. Medieval Dynasty is an absolutely beautiful game that can offer you hours upon hours of enjoyment and entertainment. While the concept of the game may seem simple, it is far more intricate in execution, and that can seem overwhelming, especially for new players. However, by employing these tips and tricks, you should have a great head start. So get on out there and create your dynasty. And if you found this video helpful and or enjoyable, be sure to subscribe to Savin's World for more information-packed tutorials. Simply give that subscribe button a click. But for now, this is Savin saying thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll catch you in the next one.